Hello, students. Today I wanted to talk to you about the exciting world of charts. There are lots of different kinds of charts and tables. You can have graphs, maps, and diagrams. So, we're going to go over each one of those and talk about when would be appropriate to use them. It's really important if you want your paper to be really professional that you come up with some sort of visual way to share information. They often say a picture is worth a thousand words, and charts and graphs and diagrams and maps can sometimes explain things a lot better than a paragraph. So let's take a look at what each of those are and how we could use them. So let's start out with charts. There are lots of different kinds of charts. Some of them that you're pretty familiar with are bar charts or histograms. Okay. And also a pie chart. Those are two different type of charts that you might know. So graphs are also a type of chart. A graph shows a relationship between two different sets of data. So for example, on this one, it's a chart about how many facts they got correct over a period of 4 days of practicing. So these are the amount of facts they got correct, and these are the days. And you can see there's a relationship that um, as time goes on, they get more and more facts right. So this is a scatter plot. It's really good at showing clusters of data. So, for example, you can see that some eruptions happen for 2 minutes, and then another cluster of eruptions happens between 4 and 5 minutes. So that's kind of interesting to show. And a scatter plot would show that better than another type of graph. A map is also a type of chart. It shows you how data is related to geography. So, for example, this is an election map which shows you how people voted by state. But if you look closer, you can see how people voted by district, and it looks quite a bit different. Um, and lastly, you have a diagram. A diagram is another type of chart, and it's basically showing you a picture of how things work or how things are related or what are the different parts to something. So, diagrams are also really important. Sometimes, if you could see this picture of the water cycle, it makes a lot more sense than if you were to read a paragraph about the water cycle. So, let's talk about how you would put one of those into your research paper. The first thing you need to do is think about the type of information that has numbers or data that you want to share with your readers. So, for example, I've written a paper here about technology that will aid in classroom management. So, the first thing I might want to talk about is the percentage of students that misbehave. So, I'm going to go to Insert, and I'm going to go to chart, and I'm going to choose a pie chart, and it's going to insert one for me. Lovely, but it doesn't say what I need it to say, right? I'm not talking about points scored. I'm talking about student percentage of students who misbehave. So um, I'm going to go over here to my Google Docs, and I'm going to see that it has made a new Google Sheet that is titled the exact same as my research paper. And it also says it's my pie chart. So that's what I do if I want to change that pie chart. So what I do is it's going to pull it up, and I just need to change things here. So um, students who, let's say, teachers who send people to pass room. So teachers who never send people to pass room, that's probably 5% of the teachers. The teachers who send student to pass room weekly, that's probably about 10%. But I'm going to actually use numbers and data that I got from my research. Right now, I'm making stuff up just to show you how to make the chart, but you are not going to make stuff up. So, teachers that send people to the pass room monthly, we're going to say about 55% of those. Well, now we're up to 75%. So we know that teachers who send people to the pass room daily, we're going to say is 25%. Okay. And so that's going to change my pie chart to reflect my data. But it also still says points scored. Even though these things have changed, the numbers have changed, the graph itself has changed, it still says points scored and I don't want it to. So I click on it and I get these little dots and I click edit chart. And then if I click on points scored here, I can instead write teachers rates, percentage of teachers, students to pass room. Okay, now my chart looks just like I want it to. And if I go back here, oh, it looks still the generic one. So I'm going to click this update button and it will update it for me automatically. And now I have a lovely pie chart there. Okay, I can also do the same thing with a graph. I come up here to insert, go to chart, say I want to do a line graph. It's going to insert it here, but where I'm going to find it is here, Classroom Management Line Chart 2. It's going to pull it up and I'll put in my data. Okay, so now I've entered my data. I'm showing a change over time. So my column A needs to reflect my time intervals, month 1, month 2, month 3, month 4, whatever the intervals of time that you want to show. Now, this one has it's kind of comparing 2 different sets of data with a freeze ray and without a freeze ray, and, it's gonna go and it's gonna talk about the amount of students in month 1 who were sent, um, th by the teachers with a freeze ray was 24 and without a freeze ray was 89, okay? So, as you see that there's a steep drop when the teachers. Okay, so as you can see, I've now entered the data that matches my data that I found from my research. I have month 1, 2, 3, and 4, and this is going to show the change over time. It's comparing 2 different populations. One were teachers that had a freeze ray, and one were teachers without a freeze ray. So the teachers that had a freeze ray were having more behavior incidents and sending people to pass room to start. But as you can see, over time, they got better and better at managing students, and so they weren't sending them to pass room as much. The teachers without a freeze ray, there's some fluctuation, but at the same time, it stays kind of similar, and it's definitely very different from these other teachers. So the only thing I don't like about this chart is the colors of the lines. I don't think they're very visible. So I'm going to go in and I'm going to click on this and it's going to pull it up and I can change the type of line. I like it to be thing, but I want it to be red. So the teachers without a freeze ray are red and the teachers with a freeze ray are blue, but I don't actually like this color of blue. I can change it to a more brilliant blue. Okay, there. Now I like that. And so I'm going to go back to my chart here and it looks the same. But once I click update, it now reflects my data. So what I want to do is I want to click here, this wrap text thing, and I want to make sure it's kind of centered on the page. And that looks nice. Okay. I can also resize it if I want. Okay. And that's how you would make a chart. Okay. Now, what if I want to insert a diagram? Say I want to talk about this the D gun. Okay, so maybe I want to insert a diagram of how the D gun works. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to insert again, but this time I'm going to insert a drawing and I'm going to make a new one. Okay, and then I'm going to use these shapes to help me draw my D gun and all its different parts. Okay, and okay. and you're just gonna start drawing. Then once I've finished drawing my diagram and labeling it using this text box and the shapes, then I can hit save and close, and it will inject it right into my paper. So that's all you have to do. If you wanted to insert a map, you could draw a map as well, and that would be acceptable. They look really nice and really professional if you use this insert tool to insert either a drawing or a chart. Hope that helps.